Manchester United 3, Bodø Glimt 2. A first win for Ruben Amorim, a first home game. Only our second win in the Europa League. 70-odd% possession. Weirdly, it almost felt like 3-2 flattered Bodø Glimt a little bit there, didn't it?
Not weirdly, it certainly did. I think if Tyrell Malacia isn't on the pitch in the first half, I don't think that they get one of their goals. The other one was an exquisite piece of play from them. But aside from that, Manchester United were more than value for the 3-2 win tonight. And there's a hell of a lot to be positive about. There's two narratives here, Joel. There's the case that, United have beat Bodø Glimt, a team from some obscure place in Norway, with great respect to Norwegians. Or the other one is that Ruben Amorim's come in and we are actually looking within a couple of games, and he's had, over a week and a few training sessions, a team with identity. It wasn't our full squad tonight at all, but the pressing from the first minute, which Hojlund worked really well to get the goal, was there throughout, and there was lots of improvements through a hell of a lot of the players. We can focus on the Malacia mistake. He's not going to be playing that position week in, week out. But there was so much tonight to be positive about moving forward. And we're nearly in the top 8 of the Europa League. I mean, what else do you want?
Can you even believe it?
Dreams are coming true, Joel. Dreams.
I didn't dare dream that we'd ever be in the top 8 of the Europa League. I'm a bit more of a realist, maybe. That's just above us as a club. I accept that. Get your thoughts in the comments, obviously. Let's go through this game a little bit. United scored again within 2 minutes of the start of the game. This one was different to the one the other day. Obviously, we built out from the back all the way up the pitch against Ipswich and put the ball in the back of the net. Here, a United player didn't touch the ball until it was basically on the penalty spot. And then Hojlund had this physical altercation with the keeper, which allowed Garnacho to come in. But straight away from that, you could see two things. One is Hojlund's up for it and going for this. And secondly, United's press and structure and system seemed to be working immediately, didn't it? Yeah,
straight away. I mean, you saw against the Ipswich game that they want to be sort of pressing from the off, and that was again the case tonight. And I've always wanted to see wrestling hybrid football, and that was it. It was like take him down. It's a
sport that there's a gap in the market.
Yeah.
Football meets WWE.
I'm just in a pilot episode of it tonight, and and it worked.
It certainly worked for the United fans, but that's the way the writers do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll be your team, sometimes it'll be others, and then. Speaking of writers, the game did this thing that at the minute only United are capable of, where we're in complete control, 75% possession. We've scored the first goal early on. We're making not great chance after chance, but we're cutting through them a little bit. We're coming up with half chances, and next thing you know, we're 2-1 down. It is like it's being written, isn't it? At times when you're watching United.
Yeah, being written and not wholly surprising, but there was a marked difference tonight compared to previous games. If we look at the other European games, like when Porto got back into the game, you expected it. You felt a change in momentum. You felt the opposition getting more of a footing into the game.
Yeah.
You were never really massively surprised. When even Ipswich at the weekend when they scored, you sort of felt that was coming. Porto, at numerous amounts of times it's happened against United. When Bodø Glimt equalised and then got their subsequent second goal, that was completely against the run of play. We had 76% possession.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had that much possession and conceded in any of the previous games where we've been in that position. Yeah. So yes, I understand where it's sort of a case of history's repeated itself. But time was, we may have gone 2-1 down, and then that might have been the rest of the game. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. And that's the great thing. You look at some of the sort of final stats. United had 20 shots to their 7. It's only 6 on target. But when you look at some of the positions we got in that ended up with shots off target, even that doesn't tell the full story, does it? Whereas Bodø Glimt had 7 to United's 20 and 4 shots to United's 6 on target. But think of a couple of the chances Garnacho had that he put wide, the one that Rashford put wide. Big chances for United. Mason Mount hit the crossbar as well. Yeah. All shots off target, and yet they were probably the 3rd, 4th and 5th best chances of the game. But let's talk about Hojlund's goal, because was it the first one or the second one? It was the first one. Phenomenal play from Mazraoui. Dancing on the ball, going past players. He clips it into the box. And Hojlund with 2 touches, one on his left and on the volley on his right, finding the gap between 2 centre-backs, one of which was marking him, into the inside netting, back across the way that the ball came from, was a genuinely phenomenal centre-forwards goal, wasn't it?
It was phenomenal. And everything that in that move had to be done with such accuracy and finesse. From Mazraoui's pass to find Hojlund because he's the sole striker in the box. He's got 2 defenders on him. So to find him and then Hojlund be able to control the ball on his left, then get it onto his right is amazing talent in itself. Very sort of Berbatov-esque. I think I've seen that very similar done. But then to thread the ball between the 2 heads of the Bodø Glimt defenders to find the only space he can to get the ball in the box. It was a sensational goal, and I think Ronny said it on the watch along. It's one of the best goals United have scored this season, or if not in a long time. It's up there certainly with Garnacho's over a kick against Everton. But I just caught some of Hojlund's comments after the game, and he said that he feels like Amorim, even on in 2 games, has got him playing a style of football that he was playing in Atlanta.
Interesting, isn't it? I mean, talking about the style of play, because we've mentioned it on the thumbnail, and it's not necessarily that was a perfect performance by any means, and there was lapses in concentration, and there were certain times where you could see, I think their first goal, whilst it was brilliantly worked by Bodø Glimt, United's centre backs looked a little bit kind of disjointed. So there's obviously some teething issues, but unquestionably, I can see what we're trying to do, and I think that at times Ten Hag was a little bit a victim of not necessarily having a dominant style of play the way he wanted to hold the ball all the time, so maybe it's a bit more difficult to see what he was trying to do on any given game. But that was a criticism that was thrown against him a lot. Already, I can see what we want here. You know, the centre-backs, the wide centre-backs push up really high with their midfielders and attackers, win the ball high up. We've got the underlapping runs from those number 10s, the full-backs holding that width, playing that ball in behind, cutting it back to the 6-yard line, penalty spot, whatever, and putting balls in that way. Then obviously we've got it's quite clear what we're trying to do, the way we build up, the way we hold possession. Even though it's not fully formed and we don't know how successful it will be, even when it is fully formed, I know roughly what we're trying to do, and it's been 2 games. Do you have the same feeling?
Completely, and the fact that we didn't have it for 2 years under Ten Hag has been was my criticism for it. We can see a complete idea of where Amorim wants to take Manchester United now. And no, we do not have the players that can fulfil every single position, whether you call them wing backs or wing defenders or whatever we were talking about earlier on. The number 10 positions, who's going to play in both of them roles. We don't know who's the best profile for everything he wants to do. But he said it himself in the press conference. It's evident from tonight and the game against Ipswich that he's a man who's going to stick to his morals and his vision for the team, and it's up to the players now to try and fit within it. Otherwise, they'll have to find themselves out there. But tonight there was loads, even when we had the substitution of Anthony and Mount came off, and I thought Anthony was a bit hit and miss. Mount played great off the ball. He was pressing really well. It was unlucky.
Lovely touch for that for the third goal as well by Mount. That little back heel to Ugarte. But mostly off the ball was his.
But he had a decent performance, and then we swapped it around to have Rashford and Ahmad in that sort of number 10 and wing, and then they linked up and there was another lot of good. So it's nice to have this sort of, we can take players in and out and not have to lose the shape. I mean, my heart skipped a beat when I seen Casemiro play at centre-back. And then for 25 minutes, we had not a single centre-back on the pitch. But we know these are Ruben Amorim's times. We're not going to...
And isn't it weird? Because it's almost like because we've been told that there's going to be this big change in how United line up, and maybe some of the details will be similar to what Ten Hag wanted to do, but it's this 3 at the back. So we just accept the fact that we ended the game with a centre mid and 2 full backs at centre back, and we accept the fact that we started the game with a winger at wing back, another winger at wing back ended there as well. A right back in Dalot ended the game at left wing back. Like, there's a lot of players doing new things here. And to see some level of cohesion so quickly is very promising. I think that my one worry is, with almost every manager, even if it wasn't quite so tactically obvious, there's always been buy-in early on. They've always looked good for spells in the first season of every manager we've had. Ole finished 3rd in his first season, 2nd in his second season. Ten Hag had that 17-game unbeaten run that led to a Carabao Cup win in his first season. So it's not new to see players trying hard early on, and I hope it lasts. That's the thing for me. And this wasn't a perfect performance by any means, but to see the amount of change that we're seeing with some of the personnel we mentioned there, to have such a cohesive identity so early on, even if it's not perfectly formed yet, is really, really promising for me. We've got a few super chats. What we got? Stephen Malone, welcome to the Academy. Thank you for joining. DRZ, I feel our attack is more dynamic with Hojlund at number 9. Also, even if they get the better of him, opposition centre-backs don't enjoy playing against him. I agree with that. Rapidaz says, I asked during the match and I'll ask again, where was Martinez during the second goal? Why was Malacia in his spot? I don't know, and I need to look at that back. That's why I think he was up pressing their other attacker that had gone into their half. Which is what the centre-backs had been doing all night, and I think it's clearly an instruction. If he'd got that slightly wrong, or he wasn't doing that, we'll have to readdress it. But from what I saw at the time, I think he was into their half trying to press their man, which seems to be the instruction, doesn't it? Kazmofo says, United should build from this momentum. The idea and system that Amorim instills looks promising. The only downside is the players are mentally switching off. There was a little bit of... I don't know, personnel issues maybe. Malacia had a bit of a tricky first half. Dallo had a bit of a tricky second half. A couple of times where we gave the ball away in that in our own half that looked a bit dangerous. But generally speaking, did you think that it was a sloppy performance? I
don't know if it's a sloppy performance. Overall, I think there were sloppy performances. In particular, Malacia and Dallo, both of them. Yeah. I thought it was like two sides of the same coin playing the same position, really. But aside from that, no, compared to performances in the past, it wasn't a perfect performance, but it was as good as I think as we can expect in these early stages of a new manager who is drastically trying to take this bunch of players, some who can't play the positions that he's asking him to, and move forward. But I'm just, for having 2 years of feeling quite negative about the football that I've seen at Manchester United, to see us so long dominating in the opposition's half. What did we have? 20 shots on goal, 72 possession. That's what I'm winning at home in a European night. I don't care if it's Bodø, Glimt or anybody. This is what Manchester United should be doing week in, week out. Wasn't the best of performances overall, but I mean, as a foundation to build on, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect point. It was exciting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If nothing else, I'm excited for what the future holds. It wasn't perfect. It is a work in progress. You can tell that the players are still second guessing at times and making mistakes. But I feel as though I'm watching a set of players who are learning something and who are learning something that can be successful quite quickly. And by successful, I mean win enough games for Amorim to keep his job and get to a transfer window maybe. But it feels as though they're getting to grips with something. And for me, that's really, really exciting. And, you know, I think we're allowed to be a bit excited, aren't we?
Why not?
Yeah,
you know?
Why not? Exactly.
I knew Dawn's coming.
Yeah, the White Kitty says, Joe, please meow for Mazraoui. There's obviously... The White Kitty clearly, obviously, is very cat-themed. I mean, I've said Mazraoui already, so I think that's my meow done. On Mazraoui, though, another brilliant performance, wasn't it? It just does everything right.
I mean, we said it during the watch-along. We've had in the past players like a McTominay, Fletcher, go back in the day, utility players that can play in several different positions. Yeah. But are elite in any one position, whereas Mazraoui seems to excel. You're getting 8 out of him wherever he plays. He can play like 3 or 4 different positions. Man cost us, 12 million quid? Like, what, Bayern Munich, what were you, I mean, thanks and stuff like that. Yeah. You buy him during Oktoberfest or something. Like,
Oktoberfest sales.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It really is bizarre how good he is. Like you said, he can play left back, right wing back, right centre back. Looks just as good in all of them. Brilliant today, not just defensively, but he set up the goal for Hojlund, and Hojlund had a lot to do by the time the ball got to him. But just phenomenal performance again from him. And I think we should talk about Hojlund before we go as well, because, I mean, actually another one, Ugarte was very good today, but Hojlund in particular needed a performance like this, didn't he? And he needed to prove to everyone, and maybe as much as his teammates, the fans, his teammates needed to realise, if you give him the ball, he can do good things with it. He can score goals with it. Because it's almost like we don't need to pass him the ball because he's not going to score anyway.
It feels like we've not been doing the simple things at Manchester United. That's what it feels like. If you give your striker a chance in front of the goal, then he will score. And that's just pretty much what happens tonight. I mean, and it was an exquisite finish and it was great play by Mazraoui. But I think he said, the system reminds him of how I played in Atlanta. It suits me very well. Yeah. We've all been saying, why can't United score more? We've not really been creating chances for our strikers. Mazraoui did it tonight, and like Hojlund made a chance just through his own pressing. Yeah. That goal was sensational. I'll be happy to watch that on repeat.
Yeah, me too. And his second goal as well, the flick from Mount, good run off the ball from Ugarte, great cross, and just occasionally you just get to side foot it in, not an open goal, but the goal in front of you, put it in the corner, it's a goal, and he got that. And I'm glad that for me, the first goal that he scored is of a much higher quality level, but I'm almost more excited by the second one because we cut a team open, had space in their 18-yard box, and put it on a plate for our number 9.
Yeah.
We have so rarely done that for the last 2 years. Under Ten Hag, there were so few times when we actually gave a chance on a plate for our striker, and we did it tonight, and I'm really, really happy about that. Amorim's got a few quotes after the game. He said the lads did a good job. They ran, they pressed, they tried to do the things we worked on in the last 3 days, and we won. It was a real ride. We started well, and then we suffered 2 goals in 2 transitions. I like how the players still played my game. That's good. He's supporting them and backing them there. He also mentioned the things that he wants to take from the game into the Everton game. He said the result. He said we will have the players. We'll have to change players. We tried to press all the time. In the last 10 minutes, it was tough. I felt Rasmus was dead. Some players were very tired. We did 4 substitutes due to fitness of the players, not thinking about what is best for the game. And I'm glad that he's taken that approach where he's focusing on the best way to keep his players playing his system, regardless almost of who those players are. We can see by the numbers, they've all got the vests on. His intensity's dropped. We're going to bring him off. Who've we got? Right, yeah, you'll work. Rather than going, we don't want to win. He needs to stay on. And it's like we're just building up a squad that is capable of doing the thing that I need you to do. And I'm glad that he's putting that at the forefront of his decision making.
Yeah, I mean, it seems quite a pragmatic way of managing the team, whilst also trying to have an entertaining style football at the same time. He's got one eye on the longer picture whilst trying to win games in the process. So it's a very, very difficult sort of balancing act that he's got his hand. And I've seen him mention it in press conferences that he said we will probably lose games. It is going to take a long time to change. But he looks like he's enjoying himself, man. And feeling everything with it in terms of when we were conceding goals. And I think he said something about the fans, and the way that they make me feel at home. It's really special. Half of the stadium don't know me, doesn't really know me. I came from Portugal and did nothing for this club. The way they make me feel at home is so special before I've done anything. Well, you've not lost in 2 games, Ruben Amorim, and you're the only manager to be unbeaten in 2 European competitions this season and 2 European leagues. I mean, I think that's a record, really.
That must be a record.
It's got to be a record. Well done, Ruben.
Well done. And thank you to everyone for joining us at home. Thank you, Scotty. It's nice to have you on when we actually win a game for once, isn't it? It's been a little while. Yeah, me too. Right, so we'll see you later, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Hit subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll be hearing from Stephen Howson later on as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Manchester United 3, Bodø Glimt 2, up to 12th, I believe it is, in the Europa League standings. See you in a bit.